Welcome back to Breakfast Television. It is 8:13 on this lovely sunny Thursday, I should say. And once again, joining us this morning is Tracy Braunstein. She's a certified sleep consultant. And today we're talking about terrors and nightmares, the difference between the two and how to cope. So you've obviously dealt with your children waking up in the middle of the night with a nightmare. We've all gone through that, but night terrors is a completely different thing. And just like many of you at home, I had no idea what this was all about.
Right.
So what is the difference between a nightmare and a night terror?
Right, so it's very commonly confused, and some people say, oh, I think he's having a nightmare, and the word night terror, when we hear the word terror, we imagine something else. So the difference is, so nightmares, so this is like the checklist to know the difference. So a nightmare typically happens in the second part of the night. The child will easily wake from the nightmare, so they may wake and be able to, if they're old enough, they'll be able to recount what they just dreamt. When you say second part, do you mean the REM? Yeah, well,
or
just
past
you know,
that?
yeah. The nightmare part, the nightmare is typically in the second half of the night's sleep. So let's say, you know, the last 6 hours. I won't get too overly technical.
Yes.
But, and so they're easily comforted. So if the parent goes in, they will wake and they'll cry and they'll say, Mommy, oh, I had a bad dream. I dreamt of whatever. Okay, and then they can easily be comforted and put back to sleep.
Okay.
A night terror is a little different. Night terrors typically will happen within about 3 to 4 hours of falling asleep, usually. The child may just simply look agitated, or they may sound like somebody's chopping an arm off.
Yes.
Right? Very, like screaming bloody murder, and they don't seem to know that you're there. So a lot of parents will recount, they seem possessed, and no matter what I did, they weren't, you know, they weren't comforted.
Child.
Exactly. So they do have that, they're not easily comforted. They seem to not even know that you're there, so you even wonder, are they awake, are they asleep? So that's the difference between the two.
Okay, so there's a real distinct difference between the two.
Yes.
Nightmare, you wake up, oh, okay, somebody was chasing me, Mommy, no problem, go back to sleep. Night terror, sometimes the child doesn't even know you're there.
They don't. It's more disturbing for the parent than it is for the child.
Right.
The child will not remember it the next day.
Okay.
Whereas a nightmare, they may still talk about their nightmares. The child has no awareness that it's happening at all.
So now you're in the middle of the night, your child wakes up screaming, and it's a night terror. What do you do?
So if it's a night terror, so you'll look at those things, you know, you can go in and say the child's name. If they're still, you know, repeating the behavior, not seeming to kind of acknowledge, yes, Mommy, it's you.
Yeah.
Really, you don't do that much. It's best not to try to wake them up. Don't shake them to wake them up. Don't try to restrain them. You really want to let it pass. A night terror can range from about 5 minutes to up to about 20 minutes.
Which could be excruciating for a parent.
Yes, and typically the child will then all of a sudden seem to just stop and roll back. Lie back down to sleep. You want to ensure their safety. So kids can act out during night terrors. You want to make sure they're not climbing things or doing anything that would harm them.
We're not talking sleepwalking then here.
No, that is a form of it, but yeah, that usually comes in later years. But the night terror, you just want to make sure, you know, try to comfort a little, but don't intervene and try to wake them and do anything like that, and it will pass.
And we were talking, I mean, we've been seeing each other for quite some time.
We've been seeing each other
for quite some time, and I talked to you about how I was experiencing night terrors, and the first thing that I would do is, stop it, wake up,
wake because we want it to stop. It's very disturbing.
Well, is there anything that parents at home can do to avoid having nightmares or night terrors altogether?
Right. So night terrors, the majority of night terrors will happen because of lack of good sleep hygiene. The child's going to bed too late. I always tell parents, simplest remedy, put your child to bed at least a good 30 minutes earlier, and we tend to see all the night terrors disappear. A lot of times you'll find night terrors when child is maybe off schedule, so if they're on vacation, going to bed too late repeatedly, we'll see that. If they've had been sick with a fever, we may see that too. But if a child's having regular night terrors, it's usually the sleep hygiene and that bedtime hour is way too late.
It's very interesting, you know, because there's a lot of things there that I didn't know. A lot of people, I know we had this meeting yesterday in our meeting at the end of the show. We didn't know the difference between nightmares and night terrors. So thank you so much for clearing that up.
You're
and if you
welcome.
want more information about this, sleeptightsolutions.com. And Tracy has all the information there that you need.